Red Corsair Raiders. Are they worth the points? In this series, I'm going to teach you how to use each Chaos Space Marine unit more effectively. So again, with these new models, I absolutely love these guys. So yes, before you point it out, I've done this one wrong because I looked at the data sheet, the card when it was on the community, and the loadout says, let me just get it up, read what it says, unit composition, not the unit composition, war gear options. There's Red Corsairs Raiders Champion's Bolt Pistol can replace with one hand flamer, and then it says for every 5 models in this unit, one Red Corsair Raiders bolt gun can replace with one melter gun. And one Red Corsair Raiders Reaver's Blade can be replaced with one Power Fist. So obviously, I got all excited. Put the Power Fist on him because he looks cool. And he's got his little hand flamer. And then, no, he's supposed to have a Power Saber or whatever they're called. Reaver's Blade. Yes, I've done that one wrong. But don't worry, it will be fine. So let's go through their basic profile. They same as normal Marines, except from they've got extra wounds. They've got movement 6, toughness 4, saber 3 up, 3 wounds, leadership of 6, and OC 2. So they're like beefed up legionnaires basically. Ability wise, though, this is where it starts to become interesting. So they have the Infiltrators ability, and Chaos Space Marines have been short all edition of Infiltrators. You could either, your options were, you either run the Alpha Legion one, the Deceptors, and then you get Legionnaires and Chaos Cultists as Infiltrators, but that's not that great. The strats aren't that brilliant either. So yeah, that's not really viable. And then also you could have Demon Allies. So you could have all sorts at first that could infiltrate. You could have what's it called? The Changeling. You could have I think it might be the Changeling that everyone's having. You could have Nurglings. Okay, I think there might be more, but I can't remember. But anyway, then it changed. So you had to have Battle Line to ally them in. So we was kind of stuck with Nurglings. Nurglings have no OC, so not great. So we didn't really have any proper infiltrators like Scouts or anything like that. So yeah, these guys I think were really needed and really fill a role. They also have Trophy Takers, which is once kill the first enemy unit until the end of the battle. While it's not battle shock, they add 1 to the objective control of models in this unit. So goes up from 2 OC to 3 OC, which is kind of an odd one, but you know, it's okay. It'd be better maybe if they had something else, but you know, that's pretty okay, pretty handy. It's just if they actually kill another unit is the main thing. So loadout wise, like I said, they've all got bolt guns, they've all got bolt pistols, so kind of like chosen in that respect, but not geared out quite as well. One can have a hand flamer, so the leader can have the hand flamer, and you can also have a melter gun in there. So we've got my little melter guy, and then we've got the hand flamer. What I love about this kit though is how it's all like mixed gear, so it's like older marks, so mixed in with some chaos stuff. So it's kind of like they kind of look halfway between loyalists, like old 30k loyalists, and they look kind of like they're on the way to becoming Chaos Space Marines, but they're also a fair bit bigger than Legionnaires. Let me just grab Legionnaire. So if I put him in there, that's the leader. Let's just go for this guy. So they're a bit more chunky, and they're ever so slightly taller. So if we swap this one for the same similar sort of pose, you can see they're ever so slightly taller and a bit more chunky. So you can see the backpacks are a little bit more chunky. They're a bit more like Primaris scale, closer to Emperor's Children sort of scale, because they're a little bit more chunky, and also the new Raptors. So I think they are starting to slowly increase the size of Chaos Space Marines to match the Loyalists. Anyhow, so close combat wise, they can have 1 Power Fist, and they can have Reaver's Blade. So Reaver's Blades are kind of in between chainswords and a cursed weapon. So they get 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 5, but then only 1 AP and 1 damage. So this squad, it can hit okay because it's got a melt gun in there. It's got Power Fist. I think the main reason you're taking these guys is the infiltrate ability. The 3 wounds is handy, but not really essential because, I mean, if that was a bit cheaper, and if you could get infiltrating legionnaires, I'd probably take them over these guys every day because they're 20 points cheaper. I mean, if you could get infiltrating cultists, I think I'd probably have them instead. 5 infiltrating cultists for 80 points or something, or 70 points, I'd probably take that. But anyway, or like 5 infiltrating cultists for 50 points, that'd be amazing. But that's never going to happen. Anyhow, so how are we going to use these? So the way I use them at the moment is just 5 of them, start off on an objective, or just off it and can move on to it. With the new detachment, the Renegade Warband, you can actually stick objectives, so you can end up sticking the objective. They're a little bit tougher than most skirmishing units, so they can fight off any chaff that's thrown at them, and they can also charge in and kill chaff in the early game. If someone puts something out, they can take them out, and it's not that great of a loss. It's only 110 points. You can double them up, and then you can have 2 Power Fists in there, 2 Melters, 2 Hand Flamers. And then for 220 points, it's a decent unit. They're 3 wounds each, infiltrating, so you could potentially start that off, infiltrate off, and you could have them as an early piece to threaten with. You can only attach 1 character to them, which is a bit... Well, you can attach any characters that can go legionnaires with them, but then they lose the infiltrate ability, which I think is the main reason for taking them. So, I mean, you could take them because it's just a decent hitting unit, but they don't get the re-rolls of legionnaires. Yeah, they got the more wounds, so a little bit more durable. And then they haven't got the extra AP like the Chosen. They don't have the advance and charge, so I think you're missing out and you're overpaying if you just want to run 10 of them with a Lord, let's say, or you want to run 10 of them with whoever. So I think you're missing out there if you're going to do that. I think the main thing you can do is infiltrate them. So you can get the Reeve Captain that can infiltrate as well. He can attach to them. We'll get into him in a different video, but I don't think he adds that much to the unit. I think he just gives them re-rolls to charge or something like that, which is okay. But you could have 30 of these guys, all infiltrating, and it could be like a real jail list sort of thing. I mean, I did make a silly list where I ran the detachment for Deceptors. You could have 3 10-man Legionnaire units. You could have 3 10-man units of these, and you could have like 3 20-man blobs of cultists, and they could all be infiltrating. So you could literally just start mid-board and just I don't know if it'd work or not. It probably wouldn't, but yeah. So I think the best in 5-man squads, just infiltrating, just to fill that role that we seem to be lacking. And before you go, so I've got 30 of these guys. So I've got this squad is still being built. So I've got my units, which are like the standard sort of kit that you get. Then I got these guys who I've tried to make. I've used some of my spare Chaos bits, some of my Chosen bits, like a Power Fist from the old Raptor squad. I think that's from a Raptor as well. So I've still got the rest of the build, but kind of a mix of a kit to make them look more chaotic. So these are kind of like the new sort of recruit sort of thing that have been fighting for a while. Not quite, not new Space Marines obviously, but they're not obviously veterans of the Long War. These guys are older. They obviously start getting more corrupted by chaos. And then I've got these guys. Okay, let me just move these out of the way so you can have a look at these guys. So these guys are these are made from Legionnaire bodies, and they've got bits from the Raiders kit, the Reavers kit, and they've also got bits from Loyalist kits as well. So, for example, this guy here, he hasn't got the robotic leg. I thought he had the robotic leg. So he's got the robotic face, robotic arm. But look, he's an Iron Hand that's turned traitor. Then we've got over here, I don't know if you can see it properly, we've got a Templar. Okay, the idea is I'm going to do So these are really new trait marines. Haven't quite sorted their armor out yet. Another Templar. Still got his Templar axe. Still got a chain to him. These are guys that obviously been wrong somehow, or abandoned, or corrupted, or whatever. We've even got an ultramarine. Look at that. So got an ultramarine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint him up as a word bearer, obviously, and I'm going to have it so on his shoulder pad you can still see some of the blue coming through from underneath where his fresh paint has come off. Well, maybe not fresh, it might be like, you know, a couple of 100 years old or something, I don't know. But this guy's the leader. Excuse me, this guy's the leader. He is he's an original from the Raiders kit, so which is cool. And then, like, obviously this is Power Fist guy. Then we've got the Ultramarine. There's another Power Fist guy. Oh, they look very similar. They look a bit too similar. That's not great. At least they've got different bodies. But yeah, they look a bit too similar. That was unfortunate. You've got the same helmets. Brilliant. Yeah, so they look a bit too similar. Got a scout bolt rifle on there. But yeah, so I'm going to paint these guys up sort of like as really fresh traitors. My original squad there, like I say, and then these guys are going to be more of the more corrupt. I need to build the other 10. They're sitting on my desk at the moment. So yeah, getting back to the main discussion, how do you run yours? Do you run them? What sort of role do they fulfill? Do you run them in 10s, 5s, etc., etc.? How do you run yours? I'd like to know. Let me know down below in the comments.